this is Miss Jamie again, and welcome to our second online Gate Academy. You guys did so great on our first one with the Laurel Birch cats, and so many of you participated that today we thought we'd bring you a little kitchen science. So I'm in my kitchen instead of my workroom to make some rainbows in a jar. Now I want you guys to have a parent or an adult read this note. Today we need some warm water that we're going to use to dissolve sugar, and so your parent or adult is going to have to either microwave the water for you or maybe get it from the sink tap. It's not going to be hot water. It doesn't have to be hot or boiling, but it just has to be warm enough to dissolve the sugar. So I want to make sure that everybody is super safe and that you guys don't get burned or anything. Okay, so please make sure to have a parent read the note and then have them either help you or at least, supervise you while you do this activity. Okay, so today we're going to create these rainbows in a jar, and we're going to learn about density. So these rainbows in a jar, each color has a different density, and the higher the density is, the heavier. We're just going to use the word heavier, I guess. The heavier the water is. So the ones with higher density float to the bottom, and the ones with less density go to the top. So then you can create this really pretty gradient, right? We learned about gradient from our Laurel Birch cats, this gradient of color in the jar. All right, now before we begin, I have all of this scientific equipment like test tubes and droppers and stuff, but you don't need any of that. I'm going to show you in a minute what tools you need, and you can pause the video at any time so you can gather all your supplies. And before we start, we're going to learn a little bit about what density is. Now, this is not really a scientific explanation of density. It's just kind of an easy way for maybe some of our younger students to understand. So something that is more dense, right? In this case, our sugar water. The sugar molecules are going to be very, very close together, and they're going to be tightly packed because the more sugar we add, the more of it is in the space. Something that is less dense, our less dense sugar water, the sugar will have a lot more space in between them, a lot more space to move around, and it's going to have a lot more room. So density is how closely or tightly packed something is, okay? So our more dense water, okay, our water with higher density will have the sugar really close together, and our less dense water, the sugar will be more further apart. It'll have more room, okay? And this also actually applies to the coronavirus. So the cities that have a lot of people living really close together, it's more densely populated. Cities like Los Angeles or New York, where people are really close to each other and they live really close to each other. The virus spreads faster because people are close together. The cities and states that don't have as many people living there, or they're not living as close, it's less densely populated, the virus doesn't spread as quickly because you don't come in contact with each other as much. And that's why right now it's very important to practice social distancing, which means that you try to stay away from people and places, because the further away you are from each other and the places that have a lot of people, the less likely you are to be affected by the virus. Okay, so density not only relates to science, but also relates to the population. All right. So, like I said, you don't need all this fancy equipment to do this experiment today. All you're going to need is, you're going to need 5 different cups so we can mix our water and sugar in. Okay, so just 5 regular cups. They don't have to be clear for the mixing part. Okay, you're going to need a 1 tablespoon measure, and it has to be a tablespoon. Okay, you're going to need some food coloring so we can color our water different colors. Okay, you're going to need a measuring cup because we're going to measure out half a cup of water in each glass. Okay, exactly half a cup in each glass. You're going to need some sugar. You're going to need a dropper of some kind. Now I have this one here that's from a science kit, but maybe your parents, your mom or somebody has a turkey baster, which looks exactly like this, but it's like a giant version. You use it for cooking, like roasting chicken or roasting turkey, so they might have something like that. Or if you don't have a dropper of any kind, you can ask your parents, okay, to get you maybe a medicine syringe. Sometimes when your brother and sister take medicine, instead of taking it in a cup like this, they take it in like a squeezy syringe. So don't go get it yourself. Don't go into the medicine cabinet yourself. But ask your parent if you can use a medicine dropper if you don't have one of these things, okay? But I think everybody should have something like this at home. Now, for your final layered water, you do need some sort of clear container. So this is actually just a slime container that I had left over from one of my daughter's slime things. You can use a jar, okay? Or you can even use just one of these cups for your final layered water, okay? So to begin with, what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure half a cup of your warm water in each glass, okay? And I'm starting with a 2-cup measurer. So I'm just looking to make sure that I go down in half-cup increments. So we're just gonna put half cup in each one, just like that, okay? So you should have 5 cups with half a cup of warm water in each one, okay? And then we're gonna start adding the sugar. So to 1 cup, we're just gonna have no sugar at all. It's gonna have 0 tablespoons of sugar, okay? And then you're gonna put 2, 4, 6, and 8 in each cup going forward, okay? And let me show you how to measure an even tablespoon, okay? So when you scoop sugar out of your container, okay? If you just do a giant scoop like this, let me see if I can bring it closer. If you do a giant scoop, it's not exactly going to be 1 tablespoon. It's going to be more because, let me see if it's better. So if I do a giant scoop of sugar like this, right? The sugar is actually above the edge of the spoon, so it's not exactly 1 tablespoon, it's a little bit more. So take your finger and smooth it off so it's super flat, just like that, and that is 1 exact tablespoon. Okay, so that's how you measure sugar with the tablespoon that you have, okay? So like I said, we started off with 0, right? 0 tablespoons of sugar in this one, and now we're gonna put 2 tablespoons in the next one, and then 4, and then 6, and then 8, okay? So we're gonna measure in 2 tablespoon increments. And I already have some here that I made earlier. So I'll put those here. So this one is my 0 tablespoon water. This one is my 2 tablespoon water, and 4, and 6, and 8, okay? Just like that. And after you put all your sugars in the water and you dissolve the sugar, when you first put the sugar in, it'll be like cloudy and you'll be able to see and hear the sugar grains in the water. But the more you mix, the water will start becoming clearer and clearer, and then you'll notice that all the sugar has dissolved. And this experiment actually works a little better if your water is not super warm. The cooler your water is, the more syrupy and thick the water gets. So maybe after you dissolve your sugar, wait 5 or 10 minutes for the water to cool down, and then you'll have a better chance of getting the nice distinct layers. Okay, so now after your water is all dissolved and cooled down, we're going to start layering our water. So I'm just going to start with this slime container as my final jar here, and we are going to put the water with the highest density first. So in this case, our 8 tablespoon water is the one with the highest density. So I'm going to take my dropper here and I'm going to put an even amount of water each time. So I'm going to put 3 syringe droppers of my 8 tablespoon water. Okay. And then I'm going to go to my next heaviest or next densest liquid, which is my 6 tablespoon water. So I started with the 8 and now I'm going to go to the 6. And I'm going to add 3 droppers just like I did with the blue. But here's how I want you to drop it. So don't just squirt it in, because then the colors will just mix and kind of turn, you know, yucky. So put the tip of your syringe or whatever you're using at the edge and very slowly drop it in a smooth stream, okay? And you'll see as you drop it in that the water drops down into the blue, but then it starts to float back up, creating a layer of green. And because our 6 tablespoon water is less dense than the 8 tablespoon water, the 6 tablespoon water floats above the 8 one. Okay? So if you see here, you can already tell that my water is separating, right? You see here, the blue and the green is separating. And let me see if I can show you a little bit better how the water droplets move. So when I put my green in, okay, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the green droplet does go down into the water, but then it rises right back up. So it looks like it's about to mix, but it doesn't. Okay, and see, you can see here that I have 2 layers of color already, blue and green. All right, so since we did our 8 and we did our 6, now we're gonna go to our 4. So I'm gonna put 3 syringefuls of our 4 tablespoon water. So just make sure to add the same amount of each color. So I did 3 syringefuls of blue and 3 of green, and now I'm gonna do 3 of yellow so that you get even layers. Okay? So just take your time and be patient. I think nowadays we're all learning a lot about patience, right? Okay, and my last one. There we go. And after you guys are done doing 8, 6, 4, 2, and 0, you can experiment with different color combinations. Okay, just make sure you put the heaviest, the most dense color at the bottom. So for example, okay, after we do 8, 6, 4, 2, and 0, maybe you want to try 6, 2, and 0, or maybe you want to try 8, 4, and 6. You just have to make sure that you put the densest liquid into the bottom of the glass first. And if you have a lid, a glass with a lid on it, then you can put the lid on and you can just enjoy it as a beautiful science meets art kind of thing. All right, and so you see here that my layers are all separating because of the different densities of water. So this is my 2 tablespoon water that's above my 4. All right, and so this is it for today. I hope you guys try this experiment. Send Miss Sueza or Miss Samino your pictures like you have been. Like I said, you guys did an awesome job on the cats. And oh, one fun fact, one of our friends, Thomas, who's in Gate, his mom posted his Laurel Birch cat on her social media and the Laurel Birch studio. So even though Laurel Birch is not alive anymore, there are still people who love her work and produce her work. So the Laurel Birch studio commented that he did an awesome job. So way to go, Thomas. And that was really cool that he got recognized for his artwork. And so make sure you send your photos to the teachers. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And I hope we're able to bring more of these online Gate Academies to you guys. So even though we can't see each other or be together, we can still enjoy some art and science and things like that. All right. So I have here last bit of purple going in to my rainbow jar. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. See you soon. Bye.